Yeah, I took like 5 minutes trying to find like nice water. I was gonna go the Fiji route, but I thought it was basic now.
Yeah.
So I got Icelandic. Dude, right?
Let's go mountain. Either that or Chrome.
It's like really built sometimes. I don't know.
Yeah.
The continent of Iceland grips a water bottle every 100 years and crushes it.
There we go.
Damn.
And that's the bottle.
That plastic, that's Ozarka plastic that's been trapped every 10,000 years.
You see my Ozarka water bottle?
No, do you have a small one?
No, so they basically, no, so normal water bottles, but they printed the labels upside down.
Wait, really?
I kid you
Oh,
not.
I saw that actually.
Wait, why?
But I thought
on purpose or
when
like?
you showed the first one, I thought like you did it and you were just making a joke, but then you had like
Yeah, that's how it came in the case, and I was like, damn.
Ozarka.
If someone probably just put it upside down in the spool.
Dude,
Yeah. How did you even like? They definitely put like the roll of
Or they like
backwards.
unrolled it and then they rolled it again, but they rolled it backwards.
You think so?
It could have been like a prank.
I couldn't find their Instagram, or else I would have tagged them. But I don't know which one was
Find
officially though.
the official Ozarka. That's so fun. Yeah. Okay.
Okay. So this is episode 1 of our podcast. Today we have Zeeshan on the channel with us, and he's a personal trainer. But I'll let him kind of give his own background.
Yeah, of course. First of all, thanks for having me, guys. I really appreciate this. And I really think it's really cool. What you guys are doing is just sharing your knowledge about fitness and your journey along the way. Basically, my story is similar to yours. That we in high school, middle school, we all play sports, and I engaged in sports as well throughout basketball and football. But I always noticed throughout that journey, I was always the smallest guy. I mean, we would train almost every day, but even doing that, I was always the smallest guy. I could, even if my skill level was through the roof, which let's just say it was, I could never, go against the bigger guys because of my size. So, I would train harder, try to lift bigger. It wouldn't happen. After football ended, high school, went through college, I was still this like skinny, fat kind of body composition. I didn't really know what I was doing wrong. I thought that maybe if I balanced my schedule more, trained better, trained harder, it would do something. But I was like, okay, it's still not working. There must be something going on. So I did my research into sports medicine, nutrition, and everything that goes into it, and understood, okay, I wasn't eating right. There we go. So I basically adopted a vegetarian diet as soon as I joined college, and that has nothing to do with fitness, just more my personal choice. But whenever I did that, we would get that typical stereotype that, you're not going to get enough protein in. And I said, I'm going to beat that stereotype, and I'm going to share my journey along the way and make sure that I can do it, and then share that journey with others so that they can do it too, no matter what background they come from.
Yeah.
So,
any diet change really can be quite. You have to really evaluate it so you know that you're actually getting a proper nutrition and not just eating whatever is like off the shelf. Anything that's kind of considered vegan junk food or vegetarian junk food or whatever your diet is, right?
Exactly. And obviously, coming from our background, the way I was raised was just Indian food, especially home cooked Indian food. We all know it can be great, but it's very carb heavy, fat heavy, and maybe not the most protein dense, especially for vegetarian.
Yeah, or all rice and bread. Right?
Exactly, yeah. So, basically I took everything that I could learn from like sports medicine, nutrition, training, and applied it to myself. So about end of 2015 is when I officially started my journey. I weighed in about 158, was skinny fat. Wanted to do something about it. So adopted proper nutrition and adopted proper training techniques. And about 2, give or take, years later, I ended up bulking up to about 200 pounds. Obviously, this is a mix of muscle and fat. Inevitably, you can't gain muscle without gaining fat. So that happened. Then I went through a cutting phase just recently this past summer when I was sitting around 200. Actually, early this year, I was sitting around 200 pounds. I went through a cut. About 2.5 months, I lost 25 pounds. Just because I learned to optimize my nutrition and my training techniques, incorporating the right amount of cardio and all the science that goes into that.
How did that feel? Because 25 pounds is a lot, right? And that's a very short period of time.
Yeah. No, it is a lot. And as we all know, fat loss isn't like linear. It kind of goes like this. So as you get more into lower body fat percentages, it can just get harder to lose that kind of weight. But just I adopted the proper nutrition. Proteins, carbs, and fats, your macros. I optimized that for my body composition, my body type, and continue to adjust that and continue to train hard no matter how draining it can be. Incorporate the right amount of cardio, and we don't just throw all our cards in at once. We just slowly adjust. So I didn't throw in cardio until way later, at least like halfway through it. But anyways, we can get into that later. But getting back to your initial question, I incorporated this. I guess I started my fitness journey, learned to optimize that for myself, and now I'm going to go. I'm continuing my bodybuilding journey. Going to go compete next year, and I want to share that with others as a fitness coach.
Right.
So that's what I've been doing.
So the kind of the approach to fitness that you've chosen is building strength, but also probably conditioning. So you want to go into bodybuilding.
Correct. Yeah, just making sure I can do it right for my body type, and obviously understanding the science behind it and helping others do the same.
So what is so you say you want to compete? What do you want to compete in, or what what form of bodybuilding?
For sure. Good question. I was thinking men's physique bodybuilding, and so this is it's going to be my first competition, so I'm just trying out the waters right now before I decide to get more invested into it. But we went to Aqeel, me, Cheyenne, we all went to the Summer Shredding Classic just this past summer, so it's the one that Alphalete and Christian Guzman put on. I just thought that was very inspiring, watching everyone kind of bring their best physiques to the stage, no matter if they're competing in men's physique bodybuilding or even women's bikini. And the transformation class. I just thought everything was remarkable. So, in my mind, if I don't have like an extreme goal, then I'll do it, but I don't know exactly when to stop. So I set that extreme goal that I'm going to go compete in men's physique bodybuilding, which is, as actually we even saw people from our background, our like Indian community, there were probably like a handful of us.
Yeah, not a lot. There was a huge amount of people that were actually competing. The Summer Shredding 2019, but Summer Shredding was it's the biggest summer shredding. What am I trying to say? It's the biggest competition in Texas, right? Yeah.
Yes.
So there was a lot of people there, but then only a handful of people from probably our background of the Indian Pakistani community.
I kind of wonder why that is, because you have like, I guess if you watch Bollywood movies, right, you got like Hrithik Roshan, even Shah Rukh Khan, and like Salman Khan. And like
making us look bad.
They always take their shirts off in every movie and they just look ripped.
Yeah. I don't know if there's a specific reason. I just know that genetically, people from our background, just because of our nutrition, obviously, I think we're genetically smaller than others. And I actually remember this because my mom actually brought up this point whenever I was in high school football. She told me, your nutrition is going to be different from others. So yes, she was kind of timid of me joining football in the first place, saying that I'm going to get hurt. And I mean, that's inevitable. It's going to happen. We grow up. But she told me that was because I was going to be smaller, hence the diet that I'm prepared with. And I quickly understood that was a misconception, because it doesn't matter which background you're from, you can always incorporate the diet that will bring you your best physique.
Right. Genetics kind of is your starting point, but you can affect it and get the right diet and nutrition with any diet just by incorporating the right foods and doing the right training.
Right. And I mean, we all have a genetic cap, but I just think that we're so far from it that we just got to keep going at it as best as we can.
So I know you said like with even I guess I don't want to say despite, but like even though you went down like a vegetarian route, you said you were able to keep up the protein and you were able to kind of have the macronutrients that you needed, right? Mm-hmm. So what was the hardest part about being vegetarian?
Yeah,
for bodybuilding, yes.
Yeah, I don't even know. Like I would say.
Or does that question just not make sense?
No, I mean, no, it's a good question. It really makes sense. I just think that I don't think I found it hard in any capacity, because now, especially in our generation today, we have so many options of meat substitute products. So I can show you the Impossible Burger from Burger King.
Yeah, more so in the last 2 years than ever before, right?
No, exactly.
And remind me, did you start this idea towards competing and getting into the bodybuilding idea? Was that before or after you went vegetarian?
It was way after. I chose to go vegetarian way before that.
Okay. So you already had kind of a build-up of a vegetarian lifestyle, so it wasn't like that drastic change, right? So that's
exactly,
good, Once you get used to any new diet, in like 6 months, I feel like it becomes off like secondhand, right?
Yeah, no, I definitely didn't go vegetarian to bodybuild properly. It was just, I was already vegetarian, and I loved it. I loved every part of it. And then I decided to start bodybuilding, and I learned to optimize both together, make that happen.
So like I guess just kind of going back to the question though, like what was, if there was like there was one thing that you could say like, hey, this was, I got over this, but it was still so hard to.
So I think getting over the myth that people put out that, okay, you're vegetarian, so you're probably not going to consume enough protein. And I was able to find a way around that. Like I said, I consume a lot of meat substitute products. I still consume dairy. I'm not vegan. And I know eggs is kind of like this middle ground where it's like, are you really vegetarian or not? I consume eggs. I eat eggs, egg whites, all that good stuff.
I don't eat eggs, I consume eggs.
Yeah, I consume it. But yeah, basically, that's kind of what I do. I just figured out what are the tools that I have access to that are in line with my diet and my ethics. I figured that out, and I was like, okay, I'm going to take everything that I have access to that is going to help me get better and optimize it with my nutrition and my training to reach my goal.
So how long has it been since you made, first since you made the transition to being vegetarian, and then like since you kind of made your way up to 200?
Yeah. So I went vegetarian around the end of 2014, and I started my bodybuilding journey around 2015, mid 2015. It was my sophomore year of college. So I wasn't the most consistent, but that's when I was like, okay, I'm putting my foot down. I'm actually going to do something about this. So it was slow and steady, but at the end of the day, we won the race. So like 2-ish, maybe even 3 years later, I bulked up to about 200. So it was a very slow journey. I just think for anyone who's trying to put on weight, understand that this is a process. Even for losing weight, this is a process. You must trust it. So whatever decision you decide to do, if you bring on a fitness coach, if you do your own research and apply it, just understand that not everything's going to go your way, but continue to monitor week to week, month to month, and adapt if something's not working. Once you figure out what works for your body type, you will be able to optimize that. And then, like I said, went through my cut, I lost about 25 pounds in 2.5 months. It's just because I figured out what worked for me. But I also understood that I learned from that, because maybe I lost weight too quickly, and I lost a lot of muscle along with the fat, because that's inevitable. So now I know that whenever I go through my next prep, instead of giving myself about 2.5 to 3 months to cut down the weight, I'm going to give myself about 5 to 6 months.
So I guess kind of like a background, like Aqeel and I, or at least on me. Aqeel can give his background. So
we should switch. I should talk about you, and you should talk about me.
So I'm obviously very heavy, weigh 225 right now, right? Like, and this is the heaviest I've weighed in my life, I think, like by at least 25 pounds. And so I guess Aqeel and I have very different, problems / circumstances, I guess.
Body compositions. That's not even a problem. This is just who we are, what we're doing, our starting point.
Right.
There's nothing wrong with this.
Yeah. I'm cutting down while he's trying to bulk up.
Yeah.
I can't live life without meat. He's completely vegan.
Yeah, it's kind of our differences what inspired this channel and this podcast, so that we can have two different perspectives, and anyone who's one of our viewers or one of our listeners might be able to vibe with one of us, and we can both kind of give tips based on that. So yeah.
Definitely.
So I guess taking it to the professional side, what do you do and how do you do it?
Yeah. So what do? I do a lot. In terms of in the fitness industry, I started my fitness coaching business back in April. So this was just I was working a corporate job. I ended up leaving that corporate job and basically decided to pursue this entrepreneurship journey of starting my fitness coaching business, taking everything that I know and I've learned, spreading it across social media, spreading my journey, and sharing that message with others. And if it vibes with them, then they can hire me as a fitness coach. Bringing on this customized approach, and there are so many fitness coaches out there, so everyone has their different approach. So there's not one right way to do this. Even though I'm a fitness coach, I would hire a fitness coach to go through a different prep, just because I want to continue learning and developing what I know. For my body type, and even stuff that I can apply to others.
Yeah. So sometimes it's kind of hard to coach yourself, just like it's kind of hard to be your own doctor or be a doctor for your family. Sometimes you want to have someone else's perspective, because it's hard to, there's that wall when it comes to yourself sometimes. Yeah,
I just, exactly true. So, there's nothing wrong with that, but that's basically what I did, and I created this customized approach. You should have seen it. Like the first program I ever created, was so bad that now I look back at it and I'm like, this is crazy, just the development stage I went through. But now I feel confident in the value that I'm adding to all of my clients that they're receiving for the price that they pay, and just watching them transform, watching their journeys. Everyone's going to be different, but it's just helping them create this lifestyle of fitness, not something that is a get rich quick, or we're gonna get fit quick from the 1 to 3 months, and then after they're done, or if they're done with their transformation period, then they kind of go back to where they started. We don't want to do that. We want to adopt a lifestyle that they can maintain for the rest of their life. My job is to educate others. I don't want to keep a client forever. That's not my goal. My goal is to help a client through their fitness journey for maybe 3 to 6 months, give or take. Educate them, give them the tools, and help them understand that this is something that now it's on them. Now they can continue for however long.
For sure. And if it's okay with you, we'll add your information and the website. Do you have a website?
I have an Instagram, so that's
sure.
I share my story. I share tips, workouts, food, everything. That's
awesome. Yeah, we'll add it in the description for our YouTube video. But do you want to just plug your Instagram name real quick for anyone who's listening through the podcast?
Definitely. Yeah. So it's at ZFTNS. So it's supposed to be Z Fitness, but without the vowels. So at ZFTNS.
Vowels are for wimps. I almost said vowels are for wimps. Vowels are for wimps, guys.
There you go. So, but yeah, come check me out. Don't be obligated to follow unless you truly like my content. I try to tell everyone that you can follow for support, but I think it's a big thing nowadays that we just follow because we're friends, and that's cool. That's nothing wrong with that. But obviously, I want people to actually follow my journey if they're truly interested in my content. And I love critical feedback. Mm-hmm. So if they're like, oh, we want to see this, or this didn't work out. They have a bunch of questions on this last post. I love that because I can continue to get better every day.
And it'll just improve the program for them and for anyone else who's planning on taking it, right?
Definitely.
Yeah. So I guess kind of from your Instagram, I'm sure people are ask you questions from time to time. What's the main question you get? Or what's the thing that
so many, and I don't do these often, ask me a question. I do them sometimes, or at least I used to a little bit, but I would get DMs on what's the best exercise split, like a workout split that you do, or what's the best exercise for this kind of schedule, or I'm vegetarian too, what should I eat, I don't really know what to get, how much protein should I consume. There's so many, the list goes on. And I just think, I can help them out broadly in terms of what I do, but that doesn't mean it's necessarily going to work for you. Like I said, everyone's different, and that's if someone's serious about this journey and is willing to make the investment in a fitness coach and learning what it takes, then do so. If they want to do it themselves, they can do it themselves too. That's what I did.
Yeah. And so I guess you what their journey is going to be different than your journey, but also doesn't. It's not like you said, it's not a 3-month journey. It's not a 6-month journey. It's kind of it's a lifestyle at the end of the day.
Definitely.
So it's kind of seeing that your journey is going to be continuing over the next hopefully 100 to 200 years.
Let's do that. Yeah.
What are you kind of I guess what's your biggest fear in the next section of your fitness journey?
Biggest fear, man. I wouldn't even see this as a fear. I just think if I ever got to the point where I was discouraged to make a post because I wasn't getting, I guess, enough likes or enough comments or enough feedback in general. And I think we all can potentially fall into the stigma where social media has become this big thing where it's I have to post and I have to get a certain amount of likes to average out for my last post, or average out my engagement score. And I know we all do this whether we want to or not, just because we all seek that approval from society. And I'm slowly trying to get out of that bubble because I would notice in the beginning my engagement score is high, and that's normal for anyone who just starts out their Instagram, but it slowly tapers off to about give or take 10, 20%, 20% if you're lucky, but 10%. So I would hate to ever see myself reduce my post or reduce the quality of my post, or just reduce sharing my journey because I fell into that. So I was in that mindset earlier, and now I've transitioned out of it. So now I share what's on my mind, I share what I'm doing, but I would hate to see myself go back to that, which I don't think I will.
I think that's a very good way to, I fell. Okay, but I think that's a very good way to like prevent burnout, right? Because we like I guess we see that a lot on YouTube, on Instagram. Like people just get kind of fed up with having to post on a regular schedule, and
you create an expectation for yourself, and then you have to keep up with it.
Right. Yeah. I think Matt Diavella did a video on it recently, where he was just talking about how he needed to do kind of videos that he cared about, right?
You mean Matt Diavella, the famous YouTuber and maker of the film documentary Minimalists, found on Netflix?
Very exact one.
Are you a fan?
Plug.
Just a slight fan.
We can't wait to get him on the podcast.
Oh man.
Yeah, he's the rock to us.
Yeah. He's obsessed with getting The Rock on his podcast, and we're really rooting for it. Yeah, it's kind of the goal he set up. And it's not something that he's going to be discouraged if he doesn't reach, but he thinks it's good to kind of set something up for yourself, set up a goal, and if you get, you shoot for the stars, and even if you miss, you'll land amongst the stars or something like that, right?
Yeah.
Shoot for the moon. But anyways, he's maybe our rock.
you pass the moon, you go as far as you can.
There you go.
No, I just think we all set ourselves to a certain limit in our mind, and I think we shouldn't do that. We should just go as hard and fast as we can, within reason, obviously. And obviously, we'll continue to surpass our limits, the quote unquote limits,
and learn from your failures, and work past your failures. I think your business is a great example, the training business. And for those who are listening, Zeeshan and I have been friends since childhood, so we've kind of been. He's the reason he's on this podcast because I know him and he's an inspiration. But I was there with you since you started this training program, and if you had stopped in your first round, that would have not been fun, because then you wouldn't have worked past it and been at the level that you're at now. But work past the things that you do at the beginnings of whatever you're starting. You're gonna fail, but you should learn from them, right?
For sure.
Yeah, and you did a great job with that.
I appreciate that. Yeah, I mean the journey's just started. I mean, we're gonna keep going, whether we continue to gain followers or not. I'm gonna keep sharing my journey, and then obviously we'll step on stage next year with our best physique, and then from that we'll just continue to grow, and we'll keep doing that. We'll just this will be a cycle that we're continuing to learning and adapt from. For sure.
Yeah. And we didn't actually talk about some of your inspirations. Ours is obviously Matt Diavella, apparently.
Yeah.
But who were your inspirations to kind of get into this fitness movement and move away from just solely athletics and kind of moving into kind of bodybuilding?
For sure. So I'm a big YouTube guy. I mean, I guess we all are at this point. I follow many people on YouTube, but I guess earlier this year I started following Christian Guzman. But you know what I mean. So he heard
that.
Yeah, he probably
he's listening right now.
He knows. But I basically started following him earlier this year, and I know he's been in the fitness space for quite a while now. He's literally athlete, and he's a big inspiration to a lot of people out there. However, I recently came across his channel because he started doing summer shredding. He does it every year, but he started going on his journey where he's prepping for a show, and then he's also building up this hype when he's actually going to step on stage, but it also helps motivate other people who are going to step on stage at the actual Summer Shredding Classic, so the one that he puts on. So just kind of watching his journey. I watched a few of his older videos, but I followed him throughout the whole Summer Shredding journey this year, and just watching kind of where he started, which was he was a normal college student like all of us were, and I think he was at TCU, and he realized that even though you can go to class and go I guess the traditional route, he was very into fitness. So he would always share his fitness journey, share workout techniques. I think he had a YouTube channel back then as well. So continue to share his journey throughout social media, gained a following, began to actually sell his workout programs to whoever needed it. Saved enough money, ended up opening a small gym that held about 10, 11 people, and it was remarkable because you just see that happen, and you saw in his video for Summer Shredding this year, he was actually in tears because it was a throwback to when he first bought his equipment for that first gym that fit 10 to 11 people. And then you would watch that whole clip of him going from that gym to the gym where it is now, filling probably 100, maybe more. I don't know.
Okay.
I don't know. It's pretty big.
101.
Yeah, exactly. I mean,
it's very big. Yeah, compared to what he had.
Exactly.
It's a warehouse.
It is, but it's a pretty badass gym. I mean, I don't know how PG we're trying to keep this.
Yeah, we are. You aren't.
Okay. But he's just an inspiration because he started from just a vision that he had, and he wanted to share his fitness journey and help motivate others to attain their fitness journey as well, like fitness goals as well.
And he's inspired everyone. I mean, a lot of the people that came to summer shredding, I mean, even you and me, I probably started watching Christian Guzman around the same time you did. I used to watch a lot of Max Tuning's stuff. He's also a fitness YouTuber, and he's best friends with Christian Guzman, so I kind of like gravitated towards both of them, and they inspired us enough for us to kind of have that to take a road trip down to
Definitely
go really far out of our way just to experience summer shredding, even though we weren't participating. And now you want to do it for the next year, and that's amazing.
Yeah, definitely. And I think that's so remarkable. And I think for anyone, even this podcast, I think anyone who has any sort of story to tell, I think we shouldn't shy away from it. I think we should go out of our way, no matter what our back of our mind could tell us, and we should share that journey on social media, on YouTube, on anything, any platform. Share it with others. You'll have people who might like laugh at it, might not think that this is going to happen. It's not going to get big. It's just going to die out. Stay consistent. If you believe in something, then I think you should actually put in your 120%. Because at the end of the day, you don't know who's actually watching and who you're actually inspiring. Because he probably doesn't know all the lives he's touched, but he knows like his impact is made.
Mm-hmm.
So,
yeah,
definitely.
So it's a great way to just share your journey, and if anyone's out there listening, then you might make a connection with someone and you don't even know them.
Exactly.
It's good.
Sure.
You can change lives.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Cool. What else you got for me?
Well, I know you wanted to kind of walk us through the basics of nutrition, because nutrition's been a big part of your life, with the whole vegetarian diet shift and trying to bulk up. And by the way, you said you bulked up to 200. Where are you sitting at now?
Yeah, so after I finished my cut, around the summer shredding classic time, end of June, I was 175. So now my journey was, okay, we have to bulk up again to 210 by give or take January, and then start that prep 5 to 6 months to the summer shredding classic. Wow. So right now, it's going to be a lot.
Yeah, you're still on the journey to the 210 right now, right?
210, yeah. So right now I'm sitting at 187. Wow. So I mean, we've gained slowly but surely, but I want to make sure that I'm gaining as much muscle. Fat is inevitable, but I'm trying to make sure that I can minimize the added fat and maximize the muscle. And we're just watching my body composition, not just the weight on the scale, watching the body composition, watching the strength in the gym, making sure that's consistent, consistently growing.
That's awesome. Yeah.
So I guess you have what? So it's October almost now, right? It's end of September. So you have 3-4 months to. Mm-hmm. Do you think that's like how are you feeling about it?
Yeah. No, I think it's we're at a good point. I think because if you want to gain weight, I would say shoot for about 1 pound a week with the right amount of caloric surplus. So for everyone watching, if everyone has this maintenance calories, that these are the calories that you need to just do your typical day to day, and everyone's number is going to vary because no one lives the same exact life. So everyone's number is going to vary. If you want to gain weight, eat in a caloric surplus, meaning you'll eat about maybe 300 to 500 calories added to. So, like we were saying, everyone has a set amount of maintenance calories that you need to consume on the day-to-day just to be exactly where you are, keeping your consistent body composition and weight. If you wanted to increase weight, you basically eat in a caloric surplus, which means you add about 300 to 500 calories to your current diet. Same thing, if you want to lose weight, you basically take away 300 to 500 calories, being in a caloric deficit, and that way you can consistently lose weight. If you want to gain weight, average is about 1 pound a week, and that doesn't mean it's going to be linear, but on average across the weeks, 1 pound. If you want to lose weight, 1 to 1.5 pound weight loss a week is something to keep in mind. But no, it's not going to be consistent because you'll have bloating, you'll have water weight, you'll have all these different factors going into it, but on average across the weeks, that's kind of a benchmark. And I can go to walk you guys through quickly what basically your macros should look like. If we're looking at a generic person, which obviously everyone's going to be different, but this is just if we're looking at this basic Joe Bob.
Yeah, it would be great if you kind of give us an overview on
Yeah, for sure.
Joe Bob. We're not
Bob
using
Joe.
Jane Doe anymore.
Yeah, whatever you want to call our little stick for person over here. So, yeah, so just to give you a rundown, let's say this person weighs 200 pounds, okay? So there's this magical number in the fitness industry where you would take your body weight and you would multiply it somewhere from 14 to 17. What the 14 to 17 range means is how active you are on your typical day-to-day. 14 would be if you're consistently just have a sedentary lifestyle, you're working like a 9 to 5 typical job and you're just not moving that much. And when you get home, you're still not moving as much. This doesn't include your workouts, this just means your just normal day-to-day activity. If you're 17, I would say you're probably like a UPS driver, you're consistently on your feet, you're always running around doing something. So let's just say this person is 200 pounds and we want to go with this 14 number because most people have that kind of 9 to 5 job at this point. So if we multiply those two numbers, we get 2,800. So that's going to be our maintenance calories if we're basically just working a sedentary lifestyle and 200 pounds. This is our calories per day to maintain our weight. Now we want to be in a caloric deficit. We want to say, hey, we want to lose a few pounds in body fat. How do we do this? We're going to be eating in a caloric deficit. So I said 300 to 500 calories is something we should shoot around. You can start with 300 and slowly build up to 500 just because it can be a little difficult cutting out the food.
Mm-hmm.
But let's say we've been doing this for a little bit. 400 is our little magical number, okay? So if we subtract out 400 calories, now we're left with 2,400 calories per day to eat in a caloric deficit. This is going to set us up on the right path to go ahead and lose about 1.5 pounds a week.
Right.
So let's say we're doing this. For protein, a decent measure is to eat about 1 gram of protein per pound of body weight. So if you weigh 200, you want to eat about 200 grams of protein. If you're one that's very, you're very lean, you just have a lot of vascularity, you're very low body fat percentage, you want to maybe shoot for 1.1 times, maybe even 1.2. That might be a little too high, but somewhere within that range. If you are starting out with a higher body fat composition, then I would say about 0.75 to 0.8. But let's just say stay in the middle.
So that like 1 pound would be like if you were at like a fairly fairly muscular,
Mm-hmm.
but not like overly vascular and like just like I guess your average athletic person would be at
just average. I mean, like even 20% of body fat is like a decent measure. Just some like the average human out there.
Mm-hmm.
So let's say 200. So what is interesting is if you take 1 gram of protein to get the amount of calories, it would be times 4 because you have 4 calories per gram of protein.
Mm-hmm.
So if we multiply those out, we get 800 calories just from our protein.
Oh, okay.
So now we do the math, we're left with 1,600 calories for our carbs and our fats.
Mm-hmm.
People like to shy away from carbs and fats. Don't do that. They're your friend. They're your energy source. Carbs are your body's favorite source of energy. Fats are like the stored energy. But either way, these are essential for you to meet your goals.
Mm-hmm.
So carbs, if you're trying to lose weight, I would say shoot for about 1, maybe even 1.3, 1.4 times your actual weight. So let's just say 1.2, 1.25 times your body weight.
Okay.
So if we do that, we're getting about 250.
Yeah.
You ever say?
That's what the 1.5, I think.
Yeah, 1.25. I think will put us at 250.
Yep.
Math.
That's a lot of carbs, actually.
Yeah.
And it'll still fit under that calorie
Exactly.
deficit, right?
Yeah, that's what people think. Oh, this is too many carbs. I'm just not going to lose weight. That's not right because even if you do the math, you're still sitting at a caloric deficit.
Yeah, and this is the sustainable way to lose weight.
Exactly.
Because you want to do it consistently and you want to do it safely.
Yeah,
Right?
you want to
Yeah.
continue eating the foods you love. Don't shy away from it. Just make sure they fit your macros. There's nothing wrong with that. I used to, on my cut, I would eat like a pint of like Enlightened or Halo Top ice cream every other day because it fit my macros.
Yeah.
So same thing with carbs. You're going to multiply it by 4 because that's how many calories are in a gram of carb. So that equals 1,000? Yes, math.
Mm-hmm.
So now we're left with, what are we left with?
600.
600.
Study rooms are now closed. The library will be closing in 30 minutes.
So,
Okay, Mom.
so now we're left with 600 calories. So just to keep in mind, now we're just going to go ahead and backtrack into how many grams of fat we should consume. keep in mind that for fat, every gram of fat has 9 calories instead of the traditional 4. So now we know we can only consume 600 to meet that 2400 total. So if we do the math on this, you have a calculator on here?
So it should be 70, no?
So 600 divided by
I'm back.
9, 66.67.
Hey, that's really close.
It's really close. So let's just say 66. So, and you don't have to be strict to these numbers. You can just be like, oh, I'm just going to eat 200, 250, and 55, or even 60, 65. Just we can round it.
Not bad.
But that's kind of the macros you want to stick around, because if you're consistent with these macros, they will total up these calories, keep you in a caloric deficit of 400, and you will consistently be able to drop some weight. And monitor this weekly, because if you notice, oh, I'm not losing as much as I thought I would, or maybe I am, but I'm going too quickly, you can reduce this deficit or increase the deficit, but don't go over 500. You don't want to overdo it in the beginning. Even start, once you're like a few months into it, you can throw in some cardio days, because instead of reducing your food, let's say you just put yourself on the Stairmaster for about 30 minutes. You burn 10 calories per minute, you burn 300 calories. You just added, and just for one session, you added a 300 caloric deficit additional to the caloric deficit you've already added throughout your week.
Right.
So
stick to this plan on food-wise, and then if you want to supplement it and you want to cut down the calories a little bit personally, then do that not by eating less, but by working a little bit more on your cardio, perhaps.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And then once you're getting more into your prep, and let's say you're actually trying to compete for a show, then you can reduce it.
So is that 500 limit including cardio, or is that excluding cardio?
So food is completely independent from cardio.
Okay.
I would say if you're going to hit 500, like you're more experienced and you're well into your cut, keep that 500, and then once you're like kind of seeing your weight loss plateauing, then add in some cardio, put yourself in the sauna, get rid of that water weight, and just monitor, figure out what works. But this is just like for the normal person out there. Not saying this is going to work for everyone, but this number you will see fat loss for sure. You're in a caloric deficit. It's gonna
That's
happen.
great. Yeah. Well, let's go ahead and sit back down for that last little bit. But that's awesome. And I know I found a lot of great success tracking it through apps. MyFitnessPal is just one of the most popular ones, but it helps you. You can scan if you're eating something that you bought out of a grocery store. You can scan that universal barcode, and it'll upload all that for you. It'll have different metrics than the ones that you've laid out, so you have to kind of be wary of that. But that's really cool. So this is just one of the cool things that you provide in your training program, right?
For sure.
Yeah.
And I customize this for all my clients, and there's like a specific calculation that I use, but it's not exactly what this looks like. But this is like something generic. But yeah, if you want to reach your goal, this is like one of the most important techniques is to optimize your nutrition.
Oh, that's great. Well, with that being said, I guess.
Yeah, I think that's all the time we have for today. So thank you for coming out. Thank you for talking with us, and thank you for this beautiful gem of information.
Yeah.
Thank you guys. I appreciate it. I hope you guys have more of these videos to come, and I can't wait to see what else is coming in the future.
Yeah, for sure. And again, thank you for being our first ever podcast guest. We're really looking forward to seeing your journey. We'll definitely keep up with you, and if anybody is interested and really was inspired by Zeeshan, we encourage you to also follow him through his Instagram. Can't wait to see how summer shredding to 2020 goes.
So excited.
That'll be really
sir.
good. Yeah, and maybe we can have you back on after, and
sure.
You can talk about your whole experience just in summer shredding itself. Yeah,
we can do that.
Hoorah!
Hoorah! All right, we'll sign off. Thank you everyone for listening. Be sure to follow us on whatever you're listening to us on. YouTube is great. Feel free to subscribe, and hoorah again.
And smash the like button for the YouTube
Smash
algorithm.
that thumbs up.
Yeah.
Alright. We gotta take a thumbs
These
down.
mugs were. Oh yeah, this is the thumbnail.
This is the thumbnail? Okay.
Yeah.
Just flex. All right, let's wrap it up before.